Thank you for joining us. We're starting a new series this time. We call this Park Car Conversation. So we'll talk about a situation, and it's not like our usual conversations, and we'll just talk about it for however long we get actual time on it. So, of course, my name is Chauncey Upshur, graduating senior, computer engineering major from Lower Maryland.
My name is. I saw my armpits. They're clean, okay. But my name is Amanda Virginia Harvey. I'm a junior cellular molecular biology major from Woolwich, New Jersey.
Hey, yo, it's your boy. My name is Christopher Small. I'm a graduating senior electrical engineering major from Jacksonville, Florida, and we are Applicable Science Podcast.
So today's conversation is born into tech. How early is too early? So personally, I feel like that giving like my kids, my first phone was in 6th grade, and I had the slide phone. So I had the flip, I have the trap phone.
You have money. The Nano.
Yeah, okay. I had the slide phone, which had the keyboard, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a really tough phone. But I had that in 6th grade, and my little cousin had his first iPhone in like 3rd grade.
Yo, that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
No training grounds for the younger generation, because I know in 5th grade I had my first phone, and I asked my parents, if I get straight A's for the first 9 weeks, can I get a phone? Obviously, I got straight A's, but they gave me a phone, and I had like a fake BlackBerry, so my parents were like one of the first people to jump on the Metro PCS train. I was so happy for that phone. I think I still have it to this day, but it only worked in Jacksonville. If I went 30 minutes in any direction, the cell service was trash. Like every time we went to my grandparents' house in Georgia or Central Florida, it never worked. So it was like, what's the point of having this?
No, yeah, I remember I got mine a little bit earlier than my brothers because I was the youngest. But I think I got it in like 5th grade, and it was a little like blue slidey phone. I would lose it all the time. I think I dropped it in the toilet a few times.
Oh no! This is why we can't. No, this is why you didn't have an iPhone. This is why you can't get
I dropped an iPhone in the toilet.
Yeah, you're one of those type of people. You're one of those type.
Okay, wait.
My sister is the same. She drops phones in toilets more often.
How?
Okay.
I really don't know.
No. I'll explain it to you. Okay, so think about it. You keep your phone in your back pocket. So females, they squat to pee.
Yeah, put your feet
when they
in your back pocket. That makes no sense. I don't know.
So then
even your bra is a better place to put your phone in.
No, that's breast cancer. Breast cancer.
Wait.
Not that, but yeah, when you might forget it's in your pocket, pull your pants down and then right in the toilet.
But okay, so once you get into the bathroom, I mean, you say let the seat down. So shouldn't you take off your pants before you let the seat up? Have you ever, like, I know sometimes maybe in couples, like the male doesn't put the seat down, so sometimes the woman falls into the toilet. So like if that's the case, wouldn't the toilet seat already be down?
Yeah, the toilet seat's down and it still falls. It's just like, because like you're not sitting on the toilet, you're squatting. Because like when you're in public places, so then it dangles over the toilet like circle, and then it goes flop.
So did you have a waterproof phone or something?
It survived.
Did you have a waterproof phone?
It was it was like a 5C, it was like a little pink 5C. That happened in high school.
When iPhones dropped the colorways, oh my gosh, shook up the whole game.
But then my phone got stolen, so I was like, well, they got a toilet phone. So that's
Um,
them.
when you was mentioning about like when I was talking about putting phones in the bras, right? And you
Yeah.
mentioned breast cancer. Can you explain a little bit for the viewers who don't know?
Okay, so phone. I'll hold it this way. Radiation. Okay. So if you're putting radiation anywhere in very, like, say if you were already prone to breast cancer, or it could trigger breast cancer with the radiation manipulating, your cells, your genes. Because cancer is just like a overproduction or growth of like basically bad cells. So, or a form of cancer. So that's where you get the lumps from. So I'm like, if you're putting radiation near here, you can very much cause breast cancer. That's why like people say like you're not supposed to sleep near your phones because that's your time to rest from it. And then also that radiation can be hitting your body when you're sleeping. That's just no bueno. And it's kind of like, how people are like talking about how 5Gs are triggered with corona. Like, I mean, I don't really know what to believe because I'm like, is it?
It's not.
It could be though.
It's not. So 5G actually, it would increase cell damage instead of implementing a virus into your system. So you have more of a chance for cell damage loss than you actually catching the whole COVID-19 from 5G. So I think that's where the discrepancy people get, because at the same time coronavirus is spreading at an exponential rate is when 5G was just being implemented globally. So people tried to link the two together, which is not true at all.
But do you think like 5G does have some effect on like human population and like their bodies?
I think we still in the testing phase for that. Since it's so new, it's not readily available right now. But I think in due time, like any wireless communication, I think it does have some effects on the human body. It's just not very. It's minuscule right now. It's negligible right now.
Interesting. But yeah, no phones near any of your sensitive parts.
But I'm guilty of that. I sleep with the phone right next to my bed for the past I've had a phone. So I'm guilty of that. Like other people in the United States or just globally, they sleep with the phone right next to them. So it's accessible. First thing you do when you wake up. Not for me personally. I pray before I do anything. Now I'm starting that trend. But the first thing you do is get on your phone and check notifications, see what I missed out on last night or whatever. So
one thing though I found, like, because one thing I found, like cause before I used to sleep with like right next to my head, so I feel like vibrations, so I would always wake up. So like now I sleep from it, like if I like on my bed, I'll sleep with it like on like stand off of my bed. So I found that actually like I sleep better when I do that. Cause I'm not worried about a phone vibrating in my sleep.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I do think like we do need some break time from our phones, but I do think they're still important in like today's society as well.
You can't get anything pretty much done without a phone. We've become so reliant on the phone, which we were talking about. If you haven't watched our artificial intelligence episode, watch that. Go to our channel and watch that. But we were talking about that, how we're so reliant on technology nowadays that it potentially become harmful for our growth as the human race and such.
And especially in places like China and like countries in Eastern the hemisphere, they basically was telling like people saying like, because my one of my friends went on a trip there, and they was basically saying that your phone is your lifeline. So if you can basically survive if you have your phone, but if you don't have your phone, then it's gonna be hard to get things done and move around, because that basically has all your necessities, I should say.
Mm. So when do you think like you should really expose children to technology?
See, I think it's so hard to avoid that nowadays that you have to accept it. So um I know for some of my younger cousins, they don't have the experience of reading a book or being taught the ABCs through paper or actual children's books nowadays. They just have um, TV guides or TV programs they can learn or apps on their iPads and laptops that their parents have. They can be taught that on there. It's very accessible. It's easier to have more than one. They don't take up as much space, which is all which is all very positive. But at the same time, you're getting this child exposed to technology at a very young age. They become more technologically savvy, just by virtue of just knowing how to use it since the age of one, when they started learning how to talk and walk. Um,
Do you know that
Phones
people in the like kindergarten, my fault for cutting you off, but you know people in kindergarten don't even know what cursive writing is.
Mhm.
that was a detriment to the educational system. So now we about to have grown people writing checks with just their printed name instead of having a cursive name. What a shame. That's why I have a poetry book and I just write in cursive so I can practice on doing that.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I'm gonna like go out my way. So if I do ever have children, I'm gonna go out my way and teach them cursive, and so they know it. Because I mean, if the education system fails in any aspect, I'm gonna pick up for it at
Another
my
aspect,
home.
my fault, Amanda.
No, you're
Another
good.
another aspect is like virtual learning. Like since we're in COVID-19 era, we have to do pretty much remote learning um for the foreseeable future. I'm thinking, as my parents are both teachers, how does remote learning look in the next 20 years when I have kids that are starting to go to school, who's starting to go to college, things like that? Like, do they really need to go in physical form, or are they looking for virtual options where they can just use Zoom or any other platform, Google Meets or whatever, to just learn and interact with their collegiate students like that? So, I
I'm
mean,
not gonna
maybe
go ahead.
going into tech is that beneficial, but sometimes it does have its decline.
I'm not gonna say like there's gonna be a drop off, but I will say that especially for kids at a younger age, they really, in my opinion, need a face-to-face interaction with the teachers, because if they don't get you interested in school in the beginning, then your interest in school will decline as it goes.
Hmm.
So as COVID is going right now, your 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 attraction to education is simultaneously going down because there's a lot of distractions at home that are just not there in the actual school. And because of that, you can be a little lax. So for example, instead of instead of listening to class, you could be playing Fortnite or playing Call of Duty while the teacher is teaching. And I know this because I know that um especially as a kid, your attention span is pretty low. And when you're moving on to virtual, it's just going to get lower and lower.
Yeah, yeah.
I can agree with that. But I also think with like how COVID is and everything's been going on with virtual learning, I feel like there's gonna be more virtual colleges like that come out of this because people see it's possible to do virtual and do everything online. Because I know there was already like the education connection and stuff, but I feel like more colleges are gonna have a ways like more like well-known colleges. I feel like they can incorporate more online stuff because they see it's possible and they can just get teachers who know how to do it. And I don't know, I feel like it can be more modern this
The
way.
real, the real gimmick is going to be how they're gonna use hybrid more than just actual in-person learning. So they're gonna end up, in my opinion, if you have a lab for whatever your class is, they just might make your class hybrid just because, and have you come in for the labs in person to uh, limited amount of times you need to be on campus. Maybe this is just for COVID, but also in the future, they're trying to learn through this transitional phase of how to incorporate both best of both worlds.
Mhm. Yeah, but I don't know, because I feel like also, what if they start making elementary schools more hybrid?
That's that's the detriment to the educational system. They need to make elementary schools in person. You can't really do hybrid or remote for elementary schools for the simple fact that the parents are not at the house with them. You need you would need a younger, or I mean an older sibling, and they would have to be very technologically savvy to help the younger student do that. And the younger student doesn't want to pay attention right now. They're just having
Mhm.
fun. They're just having fun with their friends in class. So that wouldn't work anyways. Maybe we get to high school, but no, high
But
school.
then that it'd be, yeah.
So basically, I feel like that there's like different stages in like learning and like people's views. So I think elementary is necessary because it's for the people who needs like that basis understanding of why education is important and why do we do things that we do. Middle school is like it's kind of like elementary, just a higher grade level up. So like but you get a little bit more freedom. So you get, the better basis of understanding. And then at that point, you should be knowing like, okay, I know everything's not fun and games, but I still got time, so I can still, mess around. Now, high school, you, I won't say you know what you're doing in your life, but you have a good understanding if you want to, if I want to just learn the material or pass. And that's two really different things. You can actually learn the material and like use it for further education, like and for college and stuff. Or you can just get the credit and pass. Because some people are also just trying to pass
Yeah.
and maybe try to get through like make a life with through like sports and stuff. Because that's another track to becoming successful. So you can go through sports or
But even that aspect, honestly, like looking back on it, the best athletes are the most intelligent ones. You can't be a dummy. Well, I mean you can, but at the same time, you shouldn't be a dummy and make it to the pros. I mean that's one way to make money if that's your end all be all. But the best athletes, so the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryant, the Tom Brady, the Patrick Mahomes, these are the Serena Williams, the Brianna Grinders, the Diana Taurasi's, um, the list can go on and on and on. The Allison Felix, these are phenomenal athletes at the top of their game, at the top of their field in whatever sport. These are very intelligent people. So I don't think athletes they should limit themselves in the academic aspect if their athletic prowess is at a unparalleled level in their range. I think they should take that as seriously as well. I mean,
I'm definitely not saying that
yeah, yeah. I
being
know that. I'm just
athletes
saying.
and is like I'm definitely not saying they're
Yeah,
mutually
yeah,
exclusive. I'm just
yeah.
saying like those are different tracks. So like for
Mhm,
example,
mhm.
playing games and streaming, you can say, I want to learn how to play games and if I'm and become like a streamer because that's also something that you can do and you can be highly successful. And
Yeah.
there are people in the industry that is proving that in that aspect.
Yo,
And
that's another.
that's a newer type of thing because I realize streaming has been going on for a minute, but it hasn't blown up until like maybe 2 years ago. That's when things really start ramping up with streaming and saying, okay, you can actually do stuff like that.
Actually make them money in the future long run because the streamers they are getting real bang with Twitch and other streaming services, which is something that I think our parents would have never thought would be an actual career, let alone making money off of.
But one thing that just crossed my mind, you guys talking about like streaming, I think in like video games, I think of video games and like exposing children to violent video games.
Please don't get me started on this.
What do you guys think about that?
There is absolutely no correlation to people who play violent video games and being related to people who actually like shoot up buildings. And people always debunk this theory. People always try to make a comparison out of this, and there's nothing there. Like if you look it up, there is actually no correlation between people who play video games, like violent video games, and people who actually shoot up schools. Like, there's absolutely no correlation.
I don't know, like, do you think there's any correlation though with how a kid being violent? Because think about it, well, it's not even like video games. So I'm thinking like a kid who watches like WWE and they're like, then they start wrestling their siblings or wrestling this person, and I feel like it can also make the kid more violent. So like, what do you think about that?
But see, those are TV shows, not video games.
But still, like, even video games, like kids might be like pew 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 pew. Even though, like, I don't know, like maybe they'll want a toy gun, and then maybe it can lead to other things. Like, I don't know the correlations, but I know like there's a big debate on exposing children to video games.
I'm telling you, because I'm not saying this to you specifically, but there's always recent thoughts about that, and everyone always trying to make a comparison. It has always been debunked. There is I'm just saying there's no correlation. I can understand what you're saying, like when you're playing a lot of Call of Duty games, when you're playing GTA, you're thinking, okay, because there are certain things that you can't do in real life, obviously, for obvious reasons. You think that, oh, since they can do this in this video game, then they'll probably have ideas to say, let me do this in real life, see if I can get away with it and stuff like that. I understand it from that aspect, but I'm just saying when it actually happens, there's no correlation. I understand if I can see if you say there's like different, I won't even say there's tendencies to like get violent. I mean, of course you can find maybe some like little to none, maybe some correlation between like being violent, and I don't even believe in that, but I'm not completely dismissing the idea about being a little violent, but I will dismiss the idea about school murders being lead because of shooting games. That is completely not true.
Because I mean, yeah, sometimes correlation. A lot of times, like correlation does not equal causation. So, I mean, there's no way to like. There's probably not a lot of physical way to prove it, but I mean, it's still like being conscious and like, because you never know like what goes through a kid's mind, and every kid is different. So who knows, like by having the wrong kid be exposed to all these by being exposed to all this violence, it could alter the way he's like, or maybe he'll think like, oh, maybe I can do this. So I mean, there's still always a possibility.
I understand that, but if that's the case, I can make a correlation with anything, like with literally anything. So like, for example, you can say people with the doctors, for example, and they use their different tools to like do their job. I could say, maybe I should try this out, and then I can try it on actual people and not get other people's hurt. So, I mean, correlation can be made with that too. So, like you said, there's no definite like correlation, but I'm just saying those could be bad representations.
So I'm thinking, so if you guys were ready to become parents, what stipulations would you do, or like restrictions would you give your kids amongst like not even just like video games, but technology in general?
I know for me, So I had an internship with the Department of the Navy during high school, and I was living with my mom's first cousin, which is he's very older than me, but at the same time we have a lot of similarities together. But that's beside the point. He has two younger. Well, he has three kids. He has a stepson, an older stepson, and two younger sons with him. And the stipulation that he put on them that I seen my first summer there, because I went back twice, he put on a hourly restriction for his sons to use the tablet. So they can only use a tablet for a maximum of, I think it's 2 hours every weekend. For throughout the weekend. So if his oldest son uses an hour and 30 minutes on Friday, he only has 30 minutes to play with the tablet for the next 2 days, and he can't play with it during the week anyways. So
Mhm.
it just puts on that parental control environment. It just puts on that different. Hold on. Oh, it just puts on that different context for that. With the TV, I know some parents don't tell the child to watch TV during the week because it takes away from their studying. So I think you just have to implement it as a parent. I'm not a parent by far, not even close to it yet. But if I were to be a parent right now, I'll put some parental controls on how my child uses technology with the phone, video games, TV, uh, maybe even change the Wi-Fi password sometimes just to mess with them. Like just different kinks and stuff just to make sure you check them.
I can understand that, but I have a different view on that. I'm gonna give them, because my parents they were they weren't as strict. They would just say I'm not allowed to play video games during the week, but I'm allowed to, like, access the internet, use tablets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my personal point of view is I'm gonna allow them to, like, basically do what they want, but it comes with a price. So if for example, I'm going to be asking a certain expectation on grades. If he does what he needs to do with grades, you're cool. I'm going to let you do you. Of course, make sure you don't do anything stupid um like I don't know, violence and stuff like that. If you don't do anything stupid like that and, like, just straight up disrespecting people, then we're good. Because I was given some freedom, and I think my son or daughter should have that type of freedom as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if, like I said, as long as he bring in the expectations that I show him, then me and him, he gonna do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and I feel like say I would start it off early, like with them having nothing, because I mean every child needs to learn how to have fun without the use of technology. They need to learn how to have fun in like nature or like with their siblings or just in general, like hanging out with their family. So I feel like I would introduce it at like not a super late, but like because obviously they're gonna see like, oh, cell phone this, but like I wouldn't fully immerse them into it. Like maybe getting them a tablet so they can play on with restrictions at first, and then slowly give them access more. They become um like they can handle it. So like I feel like and like TV and stuff, the same thing. Well, like I know with my dad personally, he was like, none of you guys can have TVs in your room. You can come downstairs and watch TV. So we would have to like interact with people. So I think that's like another good idea. So I feel like I feel like Chauncey said, you have to have some freeness with it. I would think like starting like not elementary school, but like maybe middle school. So I feel like that's when kids start becoming more private. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you should have some more freedom there because that's when you build a level of trust between you and your child.
Mm-hmm.
But starting off now, they're getting that time limit restriction everything because they need to know
So
this is
you
not
brought
your
up
whole life.
you brought up a good point. You said that your dad told y'all you can't have TVs in your room. Is that still true?
Oh yeah, I've never had TV in my room. Nobody in this
Okay.
house has a TV in their.
Your parents don't have a TV in their room?
They have one, but it's like off to the side in like a little loft area inside their room.
Okay. Okay.
But they
Cause
don't they
see,
don't even watch it.
so my older cousin does that with the same one I was talking about earlier. He does it with his children. I
Mhm.
mean, one is only going to the sixth grade, or going to the fifth, and the other one, the youngest one is going to the second grade, if I'm not mistaken. And his oldest stepson has one, but he didn't really have it going like growing up. Um, but the reason why you said it, because that's another avenue to limit the amount of technology your children do have. But at the same aspect, in the beginning, you were talking about making sure your children are going outside and exploring with nature. Children are not going outside no more. Like kids not going outside no more. I remember we were, I think we're the transitional age where either you can go inside and play video games all day, or you can go outside and do like outdoor activities. So I think we're one of the last generations for that. But I know for us, for my neighborhood, we were kind of slow with it. I had a friend who had a video game, but everybody else was pretty much outside all the time. We were playing basketball, football, all the whole nine, anything male related, Moscow, macho. We were doing it. So I don't know if the next generation of kids are going to be actually outside because there's so much other stuff to do that doesn't require you to sweat or
Mhm.
get hurt.
Um, I understand. Like at the end of the time, or at the end of the day, it's your personal decision. But I think you should be like a little mindful because just think about it. So I understand y'all point of view, but the average parent, like especially our generation, we're gonna allow them a little bit more leeway in terms of technology because by the time we become like definitely 10 years in the future, technology is going to be like it's already integrated into our it's already integrated into our like our daily aspect, but it's
Yeah.
getting more and more access. So if you were to limit your children, right, that means you're gonna have a little bit of trouble of making friends because more likely than not, their parents is going to allow them some leeway in terms of like uh like entertainment in like games, Xbox, PS4, stuff like that. So if you allow them to say like cut them off, then they won't be making that bond with the friend. Because for me, for example, I was like Chris said, I was playing basketball and I was doing that, and I was like always active.
Mhm.
I was able to easily make friends with that because I was good at it. And when I was practicing as a kid, yeah, okay, I was good at it. So because I was good at it and I practiced a lot, I was able to make friends, and we was able to become a group. And how that's becoming increasingly more active, there's going to be more friends and they can make bigger friends. But I'm just saying, y'all gonna be in the minority with there's huge restrictions on technology. Cause like I said, kids in elementary schools have iPhones. Just keep that in mind.
But not all of them.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying all of them, but they are in the minority. I'm saying
Mhm.
that for certain.
Like I still don't think I would give a child a phone until like sixth, seventh grade, or maybe fifth.
Yeah, phone is like I said, phone is different from having electronic device. You can have an iPad, you can
Yeah, that's.
have game
I think I'll
systems,
start with a tablet.
but
I'll start with the tablet
phones,
earlier.
I, I'll just let you know, phones is different from having
Yeah.
electronic entertainment.
But like there still needs to be a limit because like a kid needs to
Mhm.
learn how to exist without technology.
I'm,
I feel like that's just like
I think that.
technology. It can be like a plague, like
I'm
on
not,
society.
I'm not denying that. I'm just telling you that if you like restrict it to like for example, the 2 hours thing, right?
Hmm.
That's it's reasonable and it's something that you can do. I'm just saying, like, though that sounds reasonable. At least they are allowed to have access to it. But like having little to none access, like they won't be having that same exposure and having that same outlet of friends if
Hmm.
you have like because then all they're gonna be talking about to you is saying, "Oh, my friends all have Xbox. When can I get an Xbox? And then, like you say, you may just keep denying and say no, no, no. But they're gonna keep letting you know, saying all my friends. That's how it's gonna start. All my friends have this.
So I think you is going a very extreme route to where this person is living in the Stone Ages. They have no Wi-Fi. They have no electricity running through their house or wherever they living at. They have no connection to civilization whatsoever. They don't have a car. They have a bike and some mules or something, and they just out in the country doing homeschool and stuff. So I think you do have to have some technology. It's just that I think it's just what age and what maturity. Maturity and age they're not. People try to make them one to one, but it's really not one to one. I think you just have to watch a child and see how they mature.
Yeah, like I said, limiting is not a problem, but just completely try to eliminate it or little to no access is really going to detriment your kids than benefit them. Because yes, you're getting the exposure, but then they won't never know how to have fun. They'll know how to have fun with other things, but they won't have the full experience as a kid. Is what I'm ultimately trying to say.
So this reminds, because Chauncey, you're very pro technology, but you don't have any social media. So because I'm saying you're very out of touch with social media. If I go out of social media for 2 days.
Hold on, Amanda. For the viewers that don't know, first-time viewers, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to and watching Applicable Science Podcast. We really appreciate it. If you didn't know, watch our other videos. Chauncey does explicitly say at the end of every video when we're giving y'all Instagram handles and social media handles in general that he does not use social media. So you want to answer Ms. Harvey's question, Chauncey?
I will be glad to. So you were saying about basically having social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your basis of statute is saying that me having social media will limit the amount of friends I'll have, right? Or limit the communication aspect of it, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying because you're very pro technology, but you're leaving out a major source of connectivity between people, which is social media.
You're pro tech but anti social media. How does that work?
See, I don't know about you, but I started a Twitter. I was on Instagram on since elementary, since middle school. And then I have a Twitter in the beginning of high school year. Now, the reason why I'm not saying I'm moving past social media. I will check it occasionally, but I'm not going to be how I used to because there are some toxic people. It's funny, but there are some toxic people on those social media. And when you have toxic people, my thinking can be construed. And I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna be thinking like them, but I could say comments that are not not right.
Mm-hmm.
But I will, because of me being so into social media and having those people cloud my judgment, then I could start thinking that way. And I just don't do that because I feel like if I go down that route, then I may lose myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not completely, basically to answer your question, I don't completely eliminate social media because there are other ways to get the information or get the exposure. I'm just saying that I don't do it as often as y'all do. So that's why I said I don't go on social media, because going on what y'all mean going on social media is doing regularly checks. I don't do that at all. If anything, I will go through one of my burners account and check the information that I need to check and then get off.
What are you, Kevin Durant?
So with that though, you see how toxic social media can be. Like sometimes, like I have to take a break. I'm like, I can't look at this because there's so much going on in the media. But I'm like, so why would you want children exposed to that?
Exposed to what?
Like you said, you'll just give them more. You would give your child more free reign to like be exposed to technology, and like with that. So I'm like,
Oh,
why would you want children at like an early age just so they can have friends? But why would you want them to be exposed to that toxic environment and them to be swarmed up in it where they're like their mental health can go bad, everything. So why would you want children like poisoned at that young age, pretty much?
it's because I'm not going to say it's something like, because I will respond by saying this. I feel like I can teach them or I can tell them the right thing to do, right? But at the end of the day, it's their own decision. All I can do is tell you the right and wrong. Eventually,
Right.
for the people in the for our viewers, that is my twin brother.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, you can show the screen again. That's my twin brother.
Is this one too?
Yeah, that's my twin brother.
Oh my gosh.
Got
Yeah,
that off Shanti's burner account.
yeah, his name is Josh. You should go follow him though. But more on the story. I can teach you and tell you whatever you have to do. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. And more likely or not, like for me, I had to experience things. That's the only way I could truly learn, because I can learn from the past experience. People could teach me, but at the end of the day, it's different if you actually been through it. So like, for example, let's pretend I got shot. I can tell you about the experience and I can tell you how to, recover from it. But unless you actually get the experience of getting shot, then you won't know about it. So it won't go to the extreme like that, but it's just a example.
So yes, I feel like for me, I'm still going to expose them to it, but in limits, and then I'm going to explain to them that the harms social media can do to you, kind of like growing up being a black man, your parents have to expose you to the dangers of the world. So I feel like at the same time, like social media and the way it's growing, it's going to have to be another thing that people inform their children about. If not, so many things could happen because there's so many predators. People start having like issues with like body image and just the way people perceive you, and like thinking likes are a determination on your value pretty much. So I feel like there just has to be a lot of lessons as a parent. So I think, yeah, as parents, we have to take that into accountability. Or honestly, even if you see it with anybody in your family, like your cousins, your siblings, you gotta let them know, like, yo, that ain't it.
Check them. Well,
That's also what sibling is for. If you have, like, for me, I was able to learn from my older sibling. And that's why I plan on having at least 3 children.
As long as your wife approves.
I'll just, all right, I'll leave it at that.
But yep,
okay.
I think that should conclude our segments. What?
Yeah,
What?
we wasn't so much part. We kept the car moving with this one, but yeah. Thank you all for the listeners. Thank you for the viewers. We really appreciate it. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and comment on the video. If you want to follow our handles, you can follow our page at applicable_science on Instagram. Amanda, you can follow her at
Munda55 and my business AVH Organics.
Okay, and you can follow Black Business Alert. You gotta say that. You can follow me at Tallboy_Chris with the K. And thank you all for viewing, and check out our next video. That's coming up real soon.
And like Chris said, Please comment if you have any suggestions to make our channel better.
Yes.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for listening. Until next time.